Alright, we're getting close to the bottom of the list, to my top. Now we're in the top 5. Just did the number 5, now the number 4. Fairy Tail happens to be number 4. I don't know why I keep saying happens to be with all of them, but I do, because I'm excited, I'm nerding out. But yes, Fairy Tail is an anime about Natsu Dragneel. Yes, I remembered his name. Alright, so Natsu Dragneel. My favorite character, though, happens to be Gray, who is Natsu's rival. Natsu knows it's another anime with a realm of magic. Natsu is a dragon slayer. He has dragon slayer magic, fire dragon slayer magic, where Gray is ice magic. And I just love the gestures and stuff. He always has his shirt off, which usually when I'm home, my shirt's off. So, but they always go, oh, you're naked, oh, Gray, oh, put some clothes on. But yeah, so it's about Natsu, Gray, Urza. Oh, she's such a badass. Urza is just, yeah. Gray is my favorite, but Urza just wow, every time I watch her battle. It's just, wow. And Natsu and Gray are terrified of her because her magic is so powerful. She's very, very physically strong. And just, and then we have Lucy, and that's pretty much the main 4 of that. And they're part of a squad, I believe, in their magic guild that they're part of. And their magic guild happens to be called Fairy Tail. As in, not as in like the books, but as in like a tale of a fairy. Yeah, so that one just, that was my favorite until these top 3. Then, yeah, we're gonna get into the top 3 now. Number 3, Dr. Stone. Oh my gosh, it's a newer anime from 2019. Just the science in this anime was wow. Like almost all these animes, like people do their research. They know what they're talking about. Like with Rurouni Kenshin with all the sword techniques, Kenichi with all the martial arts and the techniques, forms, all that and that, and Dr. Stone with the science. So these are harder names to say, so it's going to take me a little while. We have Senku, who happens to be the genius of this show. So what happens, I'm going to do a little bit of recap on like an intro into the show, so you know what I'm talking, so you know what it's about if you haven't seen it. So what happens is Taiju is about to confess his love to Yuzuriya. I think that's how you say her name. But he goes to pronounce his love to her, and this green light goes all over, like it just comes out of nowhere, engulfs everything, and as it's doing it, they get, like every person gets turned to stone. So thousands of years go by, and it shows like the weather, the buildings falling apart, and so the whole landscape ends up getting changed through these thousands of years, where Senku and Taiju end up waking up, and they end up pretty much starting from the Stone Age. And Senku just uses his science, and they evolve through the ages really quickly because his knowledge is insane. And so they go from the Stone Age with limited stuff, and they just slowly build up as the anime goes on. They go through the ages. I think they make it to, they make it past the Bronze Age. They make it to like almost around where World War II is, because they come up with communications. And just, and they have a rival. I can't remember his name, so I don't fully care about his name, but he's like a brute. And he ends up having his own group where Senku and them find a village, which I'm not going to say anything more. But yeah, so they go off science against brute force, and that's pretty much Dr. Stone, with a lot of stuff in between that I made sure to leave out, so when you watch it, you can enjoy it as well. Number 2. Yeah. Different camera. The battery died on the last one, and I want to get this done without having to wait for it to charge. So number 2 is Sword Art Online. The whole series, even though more of the Gungrave Online part, I think I said that correctly, that part is one of my favorites because Kirito is a freaking Jedi. That's what I called him when I saw it with the photon sword. But yeah, so Sword Art Online, for those of you who do not know, is an anime about, the first series of it. All these people get trapped within the game. They use nerve gear is what it's called, where it pretty much, you go to sleep, but with it, it's almost like a dream, like being in a dream when you play the games. It was like a whole new system, and Sword Art Online was was it Enclave Online or something like that? It was the first game that it was used for. It was designed for that game, so you could experience almost like real life, but you control it all with your mind as if you're asleep, pretty much. So yeah, it's about all these people who get trapped there, and if someone pulls their nerve gear off while they're in it, they end up dying. If they die in the game, they die in real life. So they have to beat the game in order to be freed of it. So yeah, that's the first series. The second series is they have to find this character or player who's going around in this shooting game, pretty much killing people in real life, like from killing their character, it kills them in real life. But you have to watch that whole series to find out what actually is going on. And then after that, there is Sword Art Online Alicization, which is a whole other concept, but I'm not going to get too into it because there's a lot more I could say about that. But I absolutely love that one too. I just love the whole series altogether. That's my number 2 favorite anime of all time, and I can't wait for more episodes. So now that we're getting close to number 1, we're almost at number 1, I'm going to tell you about I'm going to make the special mention to one that would have absolutely made number 10 and would have taken the place of Yu Yu Hakusho, is Drifters. If they had more episodes of that anime, it absolutely would have been. Actually, it probably wouldn't even have been number 10. It would have been closer to my top 5. But there's not a lot of animes, or not a lot of episodes. So I was a little disappointed. I'm waiting for more episodes, so this list is more than likely going to change when they release the second season of episodes. Number 1. Number 1 is now at number 1. So, number 1, I don't know why I did a weird voice. My number 1 favorite anime of all time is My Hero Academia. And I said the name right, finally! I always keep saying, like, Academia. That's what I call it. But it's Academia, and I got it right. Woo! Alright, so that is absolutely, I just love that anime. So it's about this kid, Izuki Midoriya, and his superhero name ends up becoming Deku. But he has no powers. He wants to become a superhero. It's a huge thing in that anime's universe to have superpowers, and he's one of the few who don't have any. But he still wants to go through the training. He wants to go through the schooling, go to the top school for top superhero academy, and he wants to be the best superhero because he wants to protect people. That's like his biggest thing he wants to be able to protect people. He doesn't want to feel helpless. And so he ends up trying out for the number one school that has, I wouldn't call him friend Bakugo. Like, Bakugo is more of like a bully to him in the beginning, but as the anime progresses, they end up becoming friends. Surprisingly, well, not surprisingly. It's from the beginning it would be surprising. So, yeah, so they end up becoming friends after Deku Midoriya. I'd rather call it Midoriya, even though Deku was actually a name that Bakugo gave Midoriya as to like pick on him when they were kids. It was the name he called him to bully him, and he decided to take that on as his superhero persona. So Midoriya ends up getting this power, which is the greatest power of all the superheroes. It ends up being passed on to him. And he's learning how to deal with it because his body is not strong enough to deal with 100% of it. He could only deal with a certain percent in the beginning, and as the anime progresses, he's able to use more and more and more of it as his body gets stronger. But yeah, so he ends up making it into the academy, the number one place to be a superhero student. Before becoming a pro hero is what it's called. It's like the licensing and stuff. You can't use your superhero powers unless you're a licensed superhero, or you can be arrested, and it's just it's weird. But yeah, there's a lot of villains who rob banks and all that, like in superhero stuff, comics and all that. So yeah, before I talk too much, since I've already talked a lot, I hope you guys enjoyed my top 10 favorite animes of all time. And have a nice day, morning, evening, night, afternoon, and see you in the next video. Boop.